Welcome to episode 19 of the Gory Hole podcast. My name is Jenny.
I'm Nikki.
All right, let's get into it, Nikki. What's been going on with you? What have you been watching? What have you been reading? What have you been listening to? Tell me all about it.
I started watching, Todd and I watched, we watched American Horror Stories. Have you ever watched that? Where each episode is its own little story instead of like,
the
American
season?
Horror. Yeah. American Horror Story,
No, I
usually a
haven't.
season is a whole story.
Oh,
They
okay.
also have, it's new where like the last couple of years they started doing like short stories in episodes. So one episode is its own story.
Oh, nice.
So it doesn't go through the whole season. So it's a season of like short stories instead. So we started watching that. I think we watched 4 of them. I'm sure there are more by now. We watched 4 and they are not as good as American Horror Story, like the normal one. Do you typically
Yes.
like, I do too. There's been some seasons I'm like,
Yeah.
and some
then
that I
there's
like
some
more.
that I'm just like obsessed with. Yeah.
So the stories are, I want to like them, and the stories themselves are good.
Is
but
it the same
they're-
actors?
Yeah. Are there some of the same people? I feel like there's some, but there's also some new people each one. Like, yeah, like there's some cameos from previous American Horror Stories, but a lot of them are like new. There was Alicia Silverstone was in a previous. It wasn't in this season of the stories, but she's been in one. There was a couple of other like actors that have been in a bunch of things that would cameo in one American Horror Story, but not be in any other ones. So it's yes and no. But the stories themselves are good, but they're so cheesy. Like I feel like maybe they're geared towards teenagers a little bit. Like they're a little kind of teeny boppery. So I don't like them as much as the typical American Horror Story season. But we also started watching this current season of American Horror Story with Kim K. Kim K is in it.
Is she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think it's called Delicate.
Okay.
Is that right, Todd? Delicate?
That sounds right.
I think it's about a chick being pregnant or trying to get pregnant.
Okay.
And Kim Kardashian's in it. And we're only like 2 episodes into that, but so far I like that way better than the single stories. So yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Good
Awesome.
and creepy.
It's been a minute since I've watched American Horror Story, actually.
Yeah,
Now that I think about it. I don't remember the last one I watched.
Last season, I think it was New York. I think it was called New York. And it was, I didn't really like it. And I don't think we even finished it.
Maybe that's what happened with me.
care for it.
That's why I don't remember. Maybe I started it and
Yeah.
didn't care
Again,
for
it's
it.
like hit and miss a little bit for me with that. But there's been so many good seasons of it that I really like.
Yeah, so you have to give
every
them all a
year-
try
yeah,
at least.
exactly. That's what I'm trying to do. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's oh gosh, what's the actress in American Horror Story?
I'm so
One of the main ones.
fucking bad with names.
Sarah Paulson?
Yes.
I love her
Yeah.
so much.
Todd hates her. She cries way too much.
Really? I love her as an actress.
Yeah, I do
though.
too.
I like
Yeah,
everything
she's
about
good,
her.
and she's in a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
In a ton of those. And there's another chick a blonde chick that's been in a bunch. The one where they go, her husband's like a writer. I don't remember her name, but she's good. And then also a younger blonde that's in this season, in this Delicate season. She plays like a celebrity, and Kim Kardashian's her publicist, and she's in a bunch of them. Of course, the creator, I think it's Ryan Murphy. It's like Ryan Murphy and some other guy that creates American Horror Story, and they're usually in them, or at least one of them is usually in them.
Okay.
I think it's Ryan Murphy that's in this one. He's in it just like so far, just in one episode, but I like it. And I loved the chick that used to be in them every season, Jessica Lange.
I think you're right.
Is that her? Like the older chick that always smoked and like dressed like a fucking bombshell.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I loved her. She was like my spirit animal.
Yeah, that was such a good show.
Yeah,
Loved
she
it.
was. She's awesome. But I think she's not been in them for several years. I loved her.
Oh yeah, you're right.
She's dope.
It's been a minute. I need to get caught up on that.
Yeah, I really liked her.
Did you have another show, or was it just those two?
Just those 2.
Okay. Well, it reminded me. I've been meaning actually to ask you this, and I kind of been wanting to bring this up on the podcast. And
Yeah.
excuse me, guys. Since you brought up American Horror Story, it reminded me. Did you ever watch Slasher?
No.
Okay, it's a lot like American Horror Story, and like it's the same cast, but each season is a different story.
Okay. don't think I've heard of it.
The fucking creepiest fucking thing. I rewatch usually a season every Halloween because it is like the creepiest show I've ever seen in my life.
Nice.
It is so good. It's so good. And I think only the first 3 seasons are on Netflix, and then they moved over to Shudder. I need to sign up for Shudder. All the cool, scary stuff that's on there. But Slasher gave me nightmares.
Ooh.
There's not a lot that does, but this one, it's gory as
older?
fuck. Yeah, like 2019, 2018 was like the first season.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Oh,
I'll
Ryan
watch
and I
that.
loved it, and we've rewatched it a few times. It's so good, and it still scares me.
Nice.
So I would watch that if you haven't done it yet.
I have not.
So good.
Cool. Okay, I will.
Yeah, you will love it. But it's a lot like American Horror Story, but it's creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
It's so
awesome. Good. Okay.
I'm in. So for me, I'm still working on Fourth Wing, the dragon book.
Okay.
And I wanted to tell you something about the dragons in this book. So when the people are chosen to be like riders with a dragon, they have to bond with the dragon.
Okay.
And when they bond with a dragon, they basically can like communicate with the dragons through like their thoughts and the dragon and vice versa.
Dragon thoughts?
Yeah. The dragon can talk to their rider through their thoughts and the rider can talk to the dragon through theirs.
Nice.
So they're like really, really bonded. So when the dragons are doing it, if you're bonded to that dragon, you get super horny and have to fuck right away.
That's pretty silly.
I know. It's pretty awesome.
Oh my. Okay. Is it vice versa also?
Ooh, I don't know.
If the rider...
It's basically only been if the dragons are doing it, made the people horny. It hasn't been the other way around yet in the book. Okay. But I thought it was funny and I wanted to tell you about it.
I appreciate that.
So I'm almost done with that. I'm really enjoying it. It's a good book.
Cool.
I'm getting into all this fantasy shit. I'm a big nerd.
Yeah, you are. You're really getting into it.
I am. Yeah. It's fun.
Good.
Oh, well.
Okay.
I'll accept my nerdiness.
Sure.
Maybe that's why I always secretly dug nerdy dudes. Maybe just deep
I don't
down.
think it's secretly.
Yeah, it's not
There's nothing secret about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. Maybe it's why I've always dug nerdy dudes. Yeah, just deep down, I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good.
I also watched, speaking of my nerdiness, I watched the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
I did.
What was it? Honey, blood, semen?
Pooh, blood, and honey.
Pooh, blood, and honey.
Uh-huh. I watched it.
Shit.
It's not very long. It's only about an hour and a half long.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised. It's actually not bad.
Good.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's a slasher.
Okay.
It's same as like Friday the 13th or Halloween. Bunch of girls in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Swimming in bikinis and boobs out and getting killed by Winnie the Pooh.
So a classic.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really not bad. It really isn't. They don't. I said the wrong thing though. It's not CGI. It's people in costumes.
Okay. So it is like a dude in a mascot costume.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Not even like a rubber like moving mask.
Oh.
Like their ears move and the mouths move and stuff. And
it sounds a little Five Nights at Freddy's.
Kind of. Yeah. But they're like big people in these costumes. So you kind of forget that it's Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. Mm-hmm. None of the other characters are in it, just those two.
Okay.
So it just kind of looks like I said, I forgot that it was them, honestly. It kind of just seemed like serial killers with weird masks on. And that was it.
So that was just like in the background.
Yeah. I mean, Winnie the Pooh does look like Winnie the Pooh.
You're right. But it's not like, he's not like, where's Christopher Robin?
Right. Yeah. He doesn't talk at all.
Okay, good.
Well, I think he did a little bit. Because they said they're like deformed animals who hate humans, basically.
Okay.
And somehow Piglet grew from a cute little tiny non-pig looking pig into a feral hog.
Oh.
Like huge snout, like the fucking teeth and everything. So it doesn't look like Piglet. That's kind of what threw it off, as like it just looks like a guy wearing a pig mask.
Nice. Okay.
But it's actually pretty good, and there's going to be a sequel.
Okay.
And it looks like they have a bigger budget for this one, because I already saw a clip on TikTok of what Winnie the Pooh looks like in the second one, and it's way better. It looks creepy as shit.
Cool.
So it's actually not bad. I was shocked. I thought I was going to be laughing the entire time.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Nice.
It was actually not bad. I was pleasantly surprised. Out of 5 stars, I would give it a 3.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Or bags of diarrhea. That's it, right?
Yeah.
I would give it out of
3
10
out of
bags.
5. 3 out of 5 bags of diarrhea?
Yeah.
Or out of 10, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You make the rules.
I would say 3 out of 5 bags of diarrhea.
3 out of 5 bags of diarrhea. Okay.
Yeah.
We got it.
So it was, yeah.
I love
was
that measurement
shocked.
system.
I know, it's good. But it's also like, is that bad or is that good? I feel
Thank
like
you,
the more
Tina
bags of diarrhea you
D-ball.
have, that's bad.
Thank you, Uncle Tuna, for that measurement system. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I would actually recommend it.
Okay.
It's not bad. Like
Nice.
I said,
All right.
I was so shocked. But the whole premise of it, this was what I was going to tell you. It kind of has like kind of a weird comic book vibe kind of at the beginning, because it kind of just shows like little drawings and kind of the history of why they're killing people.
Okay.
And it's basically Christopher Robin went off to college and he was like bringing them food and everything. So when he stopped doing that because he was gone, they were starving and they had to eat Eeyore.
Oh, no.
And that's why they hate people. So
Okay.
now they just hate humans.
Now they're out for revenge.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So every human they see, they want to kill.
Okay.
And they like took Christopher Robin to Eeyore's grave and showed him what
Wow.
they did.
Who played Christopher Robin? Anyone?
It didn't have anybody in it that I knew.
Okay.
He's a good looking guy though.
Okay.
And they don't kill him. They think they intend to, but
Okay.
they don't.
Okay.
And then there's just like a bunch of girls who are staying at an Airbnb nearby, and they just like kidnap them and kill them like one by one, pretty much.
Wow. They get poo, blood, and honeyed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's just like addicted to honey too, which is weird. Like he has like people hanging up that he's gonna torture, and then he's just got like his honey bowl or what
Honey
is that?
pot.
Honey pot. Thank you. Couldn't think of the word. I was like, what is that? And he's just like, like looking at the people he's gonna torture.
Wow.
It was weird.
Well, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I expected 1 out of 5 bags of diarrhea for that.
Yeah. Same. I watched it with the intent, knowing I was going to think it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all I got.
Okay.
Reading, watching, listening. It's been a busy week, so haven't had
Yeah,
time to
I
do
haven't.
too much.
I haven't really done anything else either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our friend Cold Ethyl is here.
Yeah.
Before we get into some of the other stuff.
White trash, Cold Ethyl today.
Yes. If you are not watching, Cold Ethyl has a new hat on. Mm-hmm. It's a camo hat. This is Wine Hunter. Mm-hmm. She has a cigarette in her mouth. Mm-hmm. She's cross-eyed. Mm-hmm. We adjusted her eyeballs. And she has Nikki's Chelsea Lynn or Trailer Trash Tammy titty shirt on.
Yep. That is my favorite shirt.
It's like the best shirt.
That is Trailer
even
Trash.
Though it's black, you can still see her nipples perfectly through it.
Trailer Trash Tammy merch. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Trailer Trash Tammy.
Oh yeah, we love Trailer Trash Tammy.
Yeah, and she's doing the whole Trailer Trash Tammy get up right now. Her cigarette hanging out. Yeah.
She looks pretty great.
She does.
And what do you want to do next? Segment or the news story?
Ooh. Wait, segment or... your news story. Let's do your news story.
Okay.
And then we have a new segment to surprise you all with.
So I saw this on TikTok, and then it made the national news. I'm going to pull it up here. So how would you feel if you found out your husband, father to your twins, was having an affair with your mother?
No.
Like, what?
No.
Yeah, no. So an Idaho mom of 2 named Catherine claimed that her husband cheated on her with her own mother and called him out on TikTok.
Gross.
Yeah. The video now has more than 9.6 million views since it was posted 2 days ago. There were big red flags about her ex-husband, obviously now ex-husband, and her mother's relationship, but she ignored the signs because she didn't want to believe it was happening.
Okay.
She didn't want to believe the 2 people she trusted the most in this world could betray her like that, which, yeah, I don't blame you. The first odd thing she noticed was how her husband and her mother would start greeting each other. Instead of just like, hey, how's it going? Or a quick little hug. Her mom would wrap her arms around her husband's neck, and then he would swing her around in a circle to say hello.
Huh.
That's fucking creepy as shit.
Uh-huh.
He also started giving the mom foot rubs in front of his wife. Weird.
Did they want to be caught?
I guess. And then on Valentine's Day, 2 days before she found out about their affair, he brought flowers for her as well as for her mom. So he got flowers for both of his women.
That's not... I don't think that's that weird.
On Valentine's Day?
I don't know. I think it depends on how close the family is. Like, I think that alone could be sweet. But with all the other things, no.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like mom's really close and maybe she's coming over to babysit on Valentine's Day and he's like, "Oh, we got you a gift." Like, I think that the
we
sure.
thing. He did it on his own.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
I don't know. I think it could be sweet alone, but I get with all the other things.
Yeah.
That
it's added on because of it.
Yeah.
They also would joke that if Catherine and her dad were to ever tragically pass away, they would totally end up together. Ew. They would make jokes like that all the time.
Okay, so they wanted to be caught.
Yeah.
Gross.
She said that she was also brainwashed by her mother in her childhood. Her mom was pretty batshit crazy. And it was her grandma that caught on to the husband and her mother having an affair.
Wait.
So she found out from her
grandmother?
Her grandmother.
So the twins' great grandma found out that the dad of the twins was fucking the grandma.
Correct.
Well, at least the chick did the right thing, the smart thing, and divorced the dude.
Yeah, and I think she's no contact with her mother, too, from what I understand.
I feel like there's a lot of stories like that, and they're like, well, we're going to give it a second try because Jesus wants us to.
Yeah. Right. Oh, my God. Oh, and they also blamed her for the affair because she was such a terrible daughter and a terrible wife. So clearly she drove them into each other's arms. Which, I mean, this story is insane. She even, this mom is insane. On TikTok, she talks about how when she was pregnant with the twins, well, she gave birth early. I think at 29 weeks or something.
Damn. Okay.
So they were in the NICU. And it was during COVID, so grandma couldn't see them. And she bought these baby dolls to pretend they were her granddaughters, but they were monkeys.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah, grandma's also a racist because since her granddaughters were half Mexican, she thought the monkeys would look the most like them.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So not only fucked her husband, it's also racist as fuck.
Oh, no.
Grandma's a nutcase. A fucking nutcase. And I'm glad she's calling her out and making her famous for it. Good. Oh. Good. Take that, Grandma.
Wow. What a psycho.
Yeah, she's insane.
Oh, my God.
If you just type in, mom and affair in TikTok, the whole story will come up. And she's open. She's been telling everybody about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Calling them out.
And to gaslight them would be like, it's your fault because you're such a terrible wife and daughter.
Yeah,
so
we wouldn't have had to do this if it wasn't for you.
We decided to rub our butts together.
You hurt me so much I had to fuck your husband.
Oh my God. That's ridiculous.
God. Ugh.
People suck.
Oh my God, yeah. And she filed for 100% custody of her children. Good for you.
Good.
Yeah, I would not want my kids near those people. That's insane. Huh. I mean, this story is crazy, and it's like, wow. That poor woman.
Yeah, that's fucked.
But I'm glad they're all getting their comeuppance.
Yeah. That's a good word.
I love that. I was just about to say I need to use that word more often.
Comeuppance.
Comeuppance.
I don't think I ever use that in conversation, but I do enjoy it.
I know. I don't think I've ever really actually said it out loud.
Comeuppance. Wow.
Grandma's getting her comeuppance.
Nice. I like that.
I like it too.
Okay. Good.
It's a good word.
Right on.
So yeah, I thought that was a crazy story and thought
that's
you'd
a good story
hear about it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I like it.
Ugh.
Gross.
So it's gross, but it's also tell me more. I need to know
exactly.
all the dirt.
Like a train wreck.
Yeah. Can't take
you
my eyes off
know.
of it.
It's gross, but you want to know about it.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how I am. I don't ever want to be involved in any drama, but
sure.
I want to know all the details.
Yeah. It's the best kind.
It's tell me everything. Ryan's always like, I don't want to know gossip. And I'm like,
I like knowing it.
How?
I like knowing gossip.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. I don't want to be part of the drama. I just want to hear about it.
Yeah, I want to hear about it. I want to know every detail.
Yeah.
But don't involve me. Don't tell them I know.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's the news story.
Okay.
Next.
We have a new segment.
We have a new segment.
I'm so excited.
Let's play that soundbite. That is our new segment. Hot Reads with Cold Ethyl. So we decided when we brought Ethel to her rightful home.
Yep.
We decided that she is Southern, has kind of a phone sex operator voice, and
She's breathy.
She's breathy.
She's just a little splash of white trash in there.
Yeah. Boop. So we thought it might be fun for her to read some spicy scenes out of some books.
Mm-hmm. She's going to read us some dirty, dirty material.
She is.
I'm ready.
So what book did you select today, Cold Ethel? Well, today I selected Scream for Us. Sorry.
Scream. I figured it'd be Scream for Me, but it's Scream for Us.
Oh, there's more than one dude, honey.
Oh, okay.
There's more than one.
Okay.
By Molly Doyle. If you have not read this, the spice. The spice.
The spice is nice.
All right, Ethel. We would love to hear a scene from Scream for Us, which I have read this book. This is a book I've mentioned on a previous episode. The ghost face, Jason mask, and all that.
Yep.
So Ethel's going to read us
a
little bit.
Do you need to set the scene or will it just go right in?
Ethel, what do you think? I think we'll just go right in.
Okay.
Actually, I changed my mind.
Oh, shit.
The guy in the ghost face mask is about to eat this bitch out.
Okay.
So there's the... Sorry. Okay. The voice is kind of hard to do. This is our first time with this segment.
Yeah.
We'll
get the kinks out. We'll get the screams out.
Yes. I'm sorry. I got tears in my eyes.
I know, I do too.
The quiet rip of my fishnets being torn at my crotch leaves me on edge.
Ooh.
I can't even fathom how hot he must look on his knees for me. My legs begin to quiver, and I mentally applaud myself for deciding not to wear any panties tonight. Sorry.
Panties.
Panties.
Okay. All right, I'll let it slide.
The cold air sends a chill through me as it brushes against my damp inner thighs, as Ghost spreads my legs wider, exposing me. Please,
Gasp.
I whimper, taking my bottom lip between my teeth. That's right, he bites out. Fucking beg. Sorry. My heart pounds through my rib cage. Please, I beg, desperate to release all this built-up sexual tension. His warm breath brushes my clit, every nerve ending on edge. Yes, he groans. Pushing his fingers between my sensitive flesh. Ooh. Such a needy little slut, aren't you? My body jolts. I'm sorry. And I helplessly rest against the wall, reaching down for him, burying my fingers through his thick, lush hair. I kick open my legs wider. Please, please, please. This is the best I've ever.
Todd goes,
this is the best
I'm
idea.
Uncomfortable. You should be.
He winds back, mocking me. Please, I'm begging you. Fuck. He groans. He sharply groans, rubbing my clit in slow, torturous circles as I moan with satisfaction. You're so fucking wet. I can't do the dude's voice.
Oh, crying.
This is the best idea we've ever had.
This is gold. This is fucking gold.
I'm going to try to keep it going for a second. I mean, Ethel, continue.
Oh.
He dips the tip of his finger inside me, barely, and the anticipating is beyond agonizing, thrusting deeper. My inner walls tighten around him, and my stomach tenses. Without warning, he quickens his pace, pushing his finger into me over and over before adding in another, curling his fingers into all the right places. He slows, stroking my walls. Such a tight little cunt, he said.
Oh, no.
That's why I started giggling.
Stroking my wall.
Stroking my walls.
Oh, no.
Such a tight little cunt, he says.
Oh, no.
Ghost, I impatiently moan. And that does it. Without wasting another second, he lifts me into his arms and lowers me onto the bed, firmly grabbing my ankles. He pulls me to the edge, spreading my legs once more. He presses his lips to the sensitive skin of my inner thigh, teasingly. And finally, he takes me into his mouth. He traces... This is so awkward. He traces his tongue over my clit, flicking lightly in the perfect rhythm, then up and down the wet slit of my sex.
Ew.
Wet slit of my sex.
Ew. Gross.
Okay, almost done. I'm gonna finish.
Okay, all right.
Oh, hell, he knows what he's doing. Nobody has ever made me feel this good. He skims his hands over my breasts, and I yank his wrist, holding them in place. Yanking down my top ever so slightly, he pinches my nipples, twirling them between his fingers. Those are long nipples. Sorry. This only seems to bring him more pleasure as he thrusts his tongue inside of my core. Core. Oh, my God, I moan, writhing against his face. Yes. And... Well,
is that
you make me keep going?
That's pretty much it, right?
Okay, yeah.
This
This has been Hot Reads with Cold Ethyl.
That's good. That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. So, did he stick his tongue in her hole?
Yeah.
Because no one wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Don't do
That's what
that.
it sounded like. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That it should never even.
They just talked about that on the viral
Yeah.
podcast.
Don't stick your fucking tongue in somebody's pussy.
Nobody wants
Sorry.
it in the hole.
I'm saying every word
That's
that you
okay.
hate.
I'll let it slide. It's relevant.
Oh, Cold
Don't do
Ethyl.
that. Find the clit. Stay there.
Just stay there.
That's all you need to do.
Yeah. You don't.
Stay there. Mm-hmm. Don't roam around.
Yeah. That's for dudes. I think they like to do it, but no, realize
but-
we don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Nope.
That was good.
Oh my God,
that was
that was
really
gold.
good. My favorite thing was when Todd goes, "I'm uncomfortable." He said, "I think I need to call Ryan and apologize." Nah, it's
He
fine.
won't care.
It's fine. It's totally fine. We have an audience, right?
I'm
It's fine.
sweating from laughing.
I have tears.
I know. Oh my God, this is my
shit.
new favorite segment.
It's good. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh,
How
God.
long we've been going?
Let's see. Let me just do a little check-in with the camera. Let's see. About 30 minute. I think
right.
it's probably good. I could go into my topic.
All right,
it'll
let's
take,
do it.
I think it'll take a chunk of time because I have a lot of info.
Okay, cool.
I feel like a news anchor at my desk with like my papers.
Oh my gosh. Molly Doyle, you're my hero for writing that. And Cold Ethyl. Oh my God, that was the best.
All right. Tonight's topic.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is thanks to my friend Rachel. She told me she started listening to our podcast and she loves it.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Rachel. Thank you. Love you. And she said so she was listening, obviously started at the beginning. So she was listening back to when we were talking about unsolved cold cases.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And after that episode, she told me about a cold case. So she's relatively close. She lives in Eudora.
Okay.
And she was telling me about a cold case out that direction in Linwood, Kansas. And this kid, this was in 1988, he went missing. He was 17.
Okay.
So his name was Randy Leach.
Oh, he lived in Eudora?
I think he lived in Linwood. He went to Linwood High School.
Oh, okay.
In Kansas.
Okay.
She lives in Eudora. So she was telling me because she grew up hearing about this
Okay,
kid.
Got it.
So she told me about it. I looked him up. Because she was saying there's some weird theories around his death, or, like we don't even know he's dead, but he's been missing all this time. There's some weird theories surrounding it. So I did a deep dive today and researched it. So it's pretty interesting.
Okay.
I had not heard of him before. Have you heard of him? His name is Randy Leach. So this first chunk of info I got from his parents set up a website called insearchofrandyleach.com. And this, I'm just going to kind of start with the, wait a minute, this isn't the beginning one I want. So I'm going to start with just kind of like the story of what happened and then give you a timeline and go into some theories. There's an interview with a retired detective and all this stuff. So,
shit, okay.
The first thing, let's see. Just to give you, okay, let's start with this one. So this one's from medium.com because this sets like the basic story. You do?
Yeah.
Okay. This sets the basic story of the disappearance and kind of the story surrounding it, and then we'll go into some details.
Nice.
So, on the evening of April 15th, 1988, Randy had been in good spirits, having spent the day mowing lawns, a summer job he had taken up before planning to attend trade school in the fall. Having made a few stops, he finally reached a pre-graduation party hosted by a schoolmate, Kim Irwin, in West Bonner Springs. So Bonner Springs, for the listener, is really close to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. What is it, 45 minutes from here or something? 30, 45 minutes?
Yeah, give or take.
At the party, conflicting reports suggest Randy was inebriated, possibly even under the influence of spiked punch. In spite of warnings from friends about his intoxicated state, Randy reportedly left the party alone. By dawn the next day, it became evident that Randy had not returned home, setting off a chain of events that would keep his parents, Alberta and Harold Leach, in the local community in a state of distress for years to come. So let me read you like the timeline of his disappearance that day.
Okay.
So let's see. This is from insearchofrandyleach.com. 6:45 p.m. on April 15th, 1988. The last time Randy Wayne Leach's parents saw their son, his mother said he was in a good mood. His dad had just bought him a new John Deere lawn tractor the day before. I'm going to add in some editorial comments as I go here because I think it's funny. So he got a new John Deere lawn tractor, and that screams Midwest. So that made his fucking day because he got a new John Deere lawn tractor.
Too. He would love that.
Randy showered and got ready to go out. His father, Harold Leach, gave him $20 for wax for the mower that Randy was going to pick up at Kmart. We don't think he really planned on going to the party, his mom said. They were like, he's got something cooking. And he didn't want to...
He's got to wax his tractor.
He didn't want to wax that tractor. Come on.
He's got to wax that tractor. Sorry. It sounded kind of dirty.
Oh, my God.
I don't know.
Okay. It's 7 p.m. Randy stopped by his cousin's house, and then it is believed that he drove around Linwood, which is in Kansas. At 8:30 p.m., Randy and a friend drove to DeSoto to a body shop, which was restoring a red 1966 Mustang, his soon-to-be graduation gift. 9:30 p.m., Randy stopped by the convenience store to buy 2 candy bars, 2 bottles of pop, and $3 worth of gas. How fucking cheap was shit?
I'm sorry, remind me again, what year was that?
1988.
Okay, that makes sense.
10 p.m., Randy was seen at a bonfire party in West Bonner Springs. Estimates of the size of the party range from 45 to 150 people. That's quite a big range of people. But it was I feel like it was their high school's graduation or pre-graduation party, so probably the whole school was there. I wouldn't have been invited, but that's fine. Annie Irwin, the mother of the high school senior hosting the party, reports Randy had trouble walking but didn't seem drunk, nor was he ever seen with a drink in his hand. 1:30 a.m. So this is now April 16th. John Burns, which is a friend or a guy there, begins to take him home, but Randy didn't have his keys. While Randy looks for his keys, Burns takes one of the last few people at the party home. At 2:05 a.m., Mrs. Irwin, so she's the mom of the girl that's hosting the party, so she owns the property. Mrs. Irwin sees Randy waiting to use the restroom. Why is this bitch awake with all these high schoolers partying? Whatever, that's fine. So she sees him waiting to see the restroom. Approximately 2:30 a.m., when Burns returns to the Irwin's farm, Randy is no longer there, nor is his car. So he had disappeared without a trace. Nobody saw him leave, apparently. He took off. No one there knew where he went. This guy that was supposed to take him home comes back, and he's nowhere to be found. 6 a.m. that morning, Randy's mom, Alberta, awakes to find him missing. The panicked parents find themselves waiting barefoot in the driveway when Harold sees a guy named Steve Doherty, an old acquaintance of Randy. So he's a way older guy that hung around Randy for some reason. He drove by the couple's home on Highway 32 and then passed behind the Leach's house on a county road. Harold said that later seemed odd because it was so early Saturday and Doherty was only driving about 10 miles per hour where the posted speed limit was 55. But at the time, he was too agitated about his missing son to consider the Doherty sighting significant. He later learned that this Doherty guy was among the last to see his son. 7 a.m., Alberta's brother, Richard Rose, so this would be the missing kid, Randy's uncle, who at the time was an officer with the Lawrence Police Department, arrives at the Irwin farm. They wouldn't do a thing to help me, she said. The ground was swept and raked and everything put away. No cups or cans. You couldn't have told there was a party there. Wait a minute. Yeah. So I guess the mom and this Lawrence Police Department guy went to where the party was and they couldn't find any evidence of a party.
Suspicious.
I know. Probably because the mom was up all night and just cleaned it up. Yeah. What? Okay.
Go to bed.
What a weirdo. Go to bed, you old bat. Randy's parents report their son missing as soon as the mandatory 24-hour waiting period passes. So this is on April 17th.
Okay.
On April 18th, the police seek information on a 6'2", 220-pound, 17-year-old white male with blue eyes, brown hair, and a mole on his left earlobe. He was last seen wearing he's a big dude.
How'd you lose him?
That in his car. Nobody's ever found his car.
Oh my God.
He was last seen wearing a blue t-shirt, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes, driving a 1985 Dodge 600 gray 4-door plate. It gives the plate number. So that's kind of the timeline.
This is sounding, I'm having deja vu. I don't know if I saw a movie maybe that was with
I don't think there's
similar
a movie
theme
about it.
or
mean,
or maybe just a similar theme, maybe not about him.
I don't know. I don't think, all
really
the stuff
familiar.
that I read through, I didn't see anything about a movie. Okay. Back to the medium.com article. A missing person case was promptly opened by the local sheriff's office. Early responders to the Irwin property included Randy's uncle, which was that Richard Rose guy, an off-duty police officer who found the site alarmingly clean, as though there had never been a party. The case took on a sinister tone as friends and family speculated about Randy's fate. Theories ranged from murder in a satanic ritual, a fallout from witnessing a drug deal, to Randy succumbing to impaired judgment, possibly ending up in an accident or leaving the area altogether. Retired Kansas Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Timothy Dennis suggested the latter, but there was no substantial evidence to back any of these theories. Over the years, Randy's disappearance remained shrouded in a cloud of peculiarities. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that's
peculiarities. There were claims about cult activities near a local cave and rumors that the Irwin's house, the last known location of Randy, was burned down shortly after his disappearance. Mysterious copies of police reports from Randy's case started appearing in the Leach's mailbox. Adding to the confusion, 3 local men were briefly detained by the police for questioning, but they were released soon, indicating an overzealous investigation. The story took another twist when Harold and Alberta Leach reported hiring 2 investigators who left the area when state law enforcement officers started questioning their credentials. Today, more than 3 decades later, so this would be 35 years after he disappeared, Randy Leach's disappearance remains an unsolved mystery. The only established facts are that he was last seen at a pre-graduation party in his mother's gray 1985 Dodge 600 4-door sedan, and neither he nor the vehicle has been located since. A sobering reminder that even with a detailed timeline, a person can vanish, leaving behind a void of unanswered questions in an enduring mystery that haunts a small Kansas community. So I have that stuff, and then I have this really interesting interview I found from this. So that little thing I just read mentioned the retired Kansas Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Timothy Dennis. Mm-hmm. He did an interview in 2018 with the KC Star. So I'm going to read that. It's pretty interesting. So he goes through and talks a little bit more about like what he found out and what his theory is. So his name's Timothy Dennis. He thought he could solve one of the most mystifying missing person cases in Kansas. Dennis, a retired special agent with the KBI, said he closed almost all of the approximately 75 homicide or death cases assigned to him over a 24-year career. But there was one case he couldn't crack. Though he's been retired for years now, he's still bedeviled by its details. Dennis became the lead investigator for the KBI on Randy's disappearance about 10 years later, so in late 90s. He stayed on it until his retirement in 2010. Though he never solved the case, he believes he knows what happened and how Randy died. He's talking about it publicly now for the first time. The solution, Dennis believes, is less sinister than the bizarre theories, including that Randy was murdered by a satanic cult or dismembered after an overdose or hung inside a cave. So all these rumors just started like flying around about this weird stuff. And part of it is because of this kid he hung out with, and it's so funny. We'll get there.
Okay.
It's the whole satanic panic shit that was going on in this time. Yeah. Like everybody was just like, oh, well, clearly a satanic cult murdered him.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's all so
stupid. Okay. We'll get there. Okay. In the early days of the investigation, clues were sparse, rumors were rampant, and fear of Satanism spread through the community of around 400. So super small town. Dennis's explanation of Randy's disappearance, while simple, was not explored by Leavenworth County Sheriff's Office deputies in the first 10 years of the investigation. Major James Shirley, the current Sheriff's Office spokesman, says that some community members accused Randy's peers of practicing Satanism. One suspect was Robert Marble, then 18 years old. He believes now that his personality contributed to his vilification. So this Robert Marble kid, who was 18, I think they were in the same graduating class. Mm-hmm. He happened to be a little bit older, but in the same graduating class, was probably at the party. So Dennis's explanation of Randy's disappearance. Nope, I already read that. Sorry. Next slide. Marble was questioned about his religious beliefs in the Satanic Bible, according to records of Leavenworth deputies' investigation shared by Marble with the Star. So they just cornered this kid because first of all, I saw a picture of him. He has a badass mullet.
Nice.
A badass feathered mullet. And he is Eddie from Stranger Things. He wears leather and black, and he dyed his hair black, and he
clearly did it.
He had like
you did it, didn't you?
Like a necklace on, and he had like a denim jacket with like stuff on it, and he listened to heavy metal. So they just thought he was like a Satan worshiper, and was like, "Oh, well, you killed him, right?"
Yep.
Like, what? Are you fucking serious? Okay, it's so stupid.
You did it, didn't you?
It's so stupid.
Didn't you? Admit it.
A Leavenworth detective interviewed Marble and wrote, he has read the Satanic Bible, but does not believe in the concepts of the occult. And according to a record of the interview, he does not believe in God.
No.
He doesn't believe in God.
So he clearly kills people.
No.
Clearly.
Fuck you. A detective asked a witness if Marble and one of his friends were involved with some type of satanic activity. Detectives also recorded accusations that Marble and 3 of his peers were, quote, Satanists, according to the records. In 1993, so this would be like 5 years after their disappearance, 3 people, not including Marble, were arrested. One of them had been identified as a Satanist by a community member. So you can just go, that dude's a Satanist, and they'll arrest him.
We'll get him.
They'll fucking arrest him. What? But he was let go pretty quick, because clearly that's bullshit. So after the 3 people were held in jail for more than 24 hours, the sheriff made the decision that probable cause probably did not exist for those arrests. No shit, asshole. When Dennis took on the case for the KBI in the late 90s, he first had to eliminate a basketful of wild-ass theories, he says. Murderous Satanists weren't seriously considered.
Huh.
like he didn't seriously consider it because obviously he's a smart person. One person had told the investigators that he saw Randy hanging out in a cave. The man later retracted his statement, saying he was high when he said that.
Oh.
So that sparked this whole theory that he was in a cave and somebody saw him, like there was a sacrifice or ritual, and then he was hung in the cave or hanged. I think it's actually hanged.
I think you're right.
Another person said Randy left the party with a man who later dismembered him after Randy overdosed. But that man was behind bars when Randy disappeared, so that's impossible. Any murder would have required an extensive and unlikely cover-up. Nobody's talked, no evidence, no car. Those things don't happen in criminal cases unless the CIA hit team came in. That's what this KBI guy said. He jumped. I feel like that escalated quickly, but he threw that in there. How Randy left the party, Dennis acknowledges, has never been confirmed. One witness told police he saw Randy lying in the front seat of his mother's Dodge late during the party. When he returned about 2 a.m., the witness was, quote, sure Randy's car was gone, according to the records. Dennis said that since no other missing person report exists from that night, it's feasible to believe that Randy left alone. Randy's friend Stephen Haag, I don't know, was at the party that night and immediately noticed Randy, who rarely drank, was either drunk or high, an observation that at least one other witness would later recall for police. I was completely sober, but he was definitely not. 2 days into the search for Randy, one of Marble's classmates contacted a Leavenworth detective, according to a record of the conversation. The classmate who mentioned Marble's predilection for heavy metal and dyed black hair.
He did it.
Accused him of brandishing a knife in a Walmart parking lot and saying, this is what we used to sacrifice Randy. I doubt that. A Leavenworth detective wrote that. Marble said the accusation, which he dismissed as fiction, may have been the result of his status as an outcast. He was considered a stoner who wore holey jeans, leather, and T-shirts with artwork from his favorite heavy metal bands, including Iron Maiden.
Sounds hot.
I probably would have boned this dude. I probably would have been after him in high school.
Sounds like my kind of dude.
So he was an outcast and looked like Eddie from Stranger Things. He was Eddie from Stranger Things. And so they were like, that dude did it. Arrest him immediately. Oh boy.
Me and Nikki's we're just pulling down our panties for him.
Stop saying panties.
I can't help it.
Gross.
It makes me happy how mad it makes you.
All right.
Sorry.
And this is a quote from this. His name's Robert. Well, they keep calling him Marble. His last name's Marble. So I'm going to call him Eddie Marble.
Eddie Marble.
He said, in the Bible Belt, hick town of Linwood, Kansas, my preference for music happened to not be in line. Not long after the classmate's accusation, officers confiscated 2 knives and a Dungeons and Dragons manual from his car.
Oh, I'm turned on. I dig it.
He plays Dungeons and Dragons. He must be a Satanist. Did you know that, like, back in this time period, people thought that D&D was, like, of the devil?
Really?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they saw a D&D manual in his car and heard he might play D&D, so they thought he was a Satanist.
That just sounds like a dude I want to
Are
get
we
naked with.
on Planet Cuckoo Town? What? I know, and like now
That
D&D
sounds
is like
nerdy.
no big
I'm
deal. Like
into
I
it,
have
man.
so many friends that play D&D, but then like,
Oh no.
they thought you were like practicing Satan worship if you played Dungeons and fucking Dragons. Get out of here. So
It's
again,
probably like the safest person to be around
know.
too. Because they're just in their basement.
and this is again, it's just like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Tell me this isn't Eddie from the Hellfire
It is,
Club.
yeah. It sounds like it.
God bless America. All right, let's see. So they found the D&D manual in his car. The fantasy role-playing game was, in the 80s, considered by some as a ploy conceived by Satan to arouse moral turpitude.
Oh, that's a good word too.
Turpitude.
I like it.
I do too.
One more time.
Okay.
Say it again.
The fantasy role-playing game was, in the 80s, considered by some as a ploy conceived by Satan to arouse moral turpitude.
Sorry, I liked it.
Turpitude. Turpentine.
Turpentine.
The detective who interviewed Marble wrote, Marble has never played Dungeons and Dragons. He's cleared. He hasn't played it. The scare, which has been likened to the McCarthy-era hunt for communists 3 decades before, became known as Satanic Panic. Marble eventually moved away from Linwood in 1989, too hounded by police and vilified by the community to stay. They literally ran this kid out. Poor Eddie had to move away to live his life in peace because he looked weird and listened to heavy metal, the only kind of good music around at the time. And what the fuck?
Poor Eddie.
He joined the army.
Eddie.
He did. He joined the army and he served for 9 years working on field artillery systems. He now lives in Portland, Oregon, where he works as a facility manager. Yes, he sounds like a real piece of shit.
He's like an upstanding
right.
citizen.
What the fuck? How dare he?
Couldn't be more wrong.
I know. The D&D didn't get him down too far.
Yeah.
Dennis said Marble was not considered a suspect when he worked the case, and he doesn't consider him one today. 30 years ago, a single-lane bridge on Golden Road spanned Stranger Creek. This is all, I think this is in Linwood, or was it in Bonner? I don't know. It's out there close by.
They're very close to each other.
Yeah. So there were no guardrails on this bridge, which has since been demolished. Underwater, Dennis said, is the only place you'll hide a vehicle through the seasons where nobody's going to stumble over it. At first, his fellow investigators scoffed at such a theory. Stranger Creek wasn't deep enough to conceal a vehicle. They didn't think it was deep enough. However, based on Dennis's observations and information provided by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Dennis concluded the creek would be deep enough through the seasons to conceal a vehicle. Investigators, led by Dennis, hired a team from Lee's Summit Underwater Rescue and Recovery. Not long into the team's first search, sonar equipment detected a vehicle. The diver ripped off a piece of plastic molding from the vehicle and resurfaced. Dennis stood on the bank, hands outstretched to receive the molding. On it were the words Grand Prix. It wasn't the right car. No. A Pontiac. So Dennis said it wasn't the right one. It was supposed to be a Dodge he was looking for. Dennis was encouraged by the fact that a railroad bridge spanned the creek a few yards downstream from the road. No car could fit through the bridge pilings, he thought. But he found out that vehicles this current in this creek or river was strong enough to move cars down. So even though he couldn't have driven over this railroad bridge, it could have been pulled underneath it. One day the dive team found a different vehicle. This one was stolen and downstream of the bridge. The force of the current had pushed it past the pilings. So he was discouraged because if the force of the water could move it that far, then he was like, well, it could have pulled it forever. The car could be anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it went from a manageable search to an unreasonable area, because if the current could push a vehicle this far, what's to keeping it from pushing it 100 miles? A diver of 30 years for the Navy and private companies said that the theory is feasible. This guy worked for Lee's Summit Underwater, though he wasn't involved in previous searches for Randy and Stranger Creek. He could be anywhere between that bridge and St. Louis, he said. You're looking for a needle in a haystack, and you don't know which haystack to look in. The Leavenworth Sheriff's spokesman said Stranger Creek at Golden Road wasn't searched by Leavenworth detectives for the first 10 years of the investigation. Feller added that it's also possible Randy's car went into a, quote, bowl on the creek bottom that may have later filled in with sediment, making detection with search equipment nearly impossible. We feel for the family, but there's nothing we can do. Even Randy's parents considered the creek. His mother, Alberta, said 2 fishermen searched it a few months after Randy's disappearance. Additional attempts have since been made in the Kansas River, but its shallowness and sandiness have deterred efforts. Other head-scratching mysteries have been solved via underwater searches. I remember hearing about this name. I think we may have even talked about this when we talked about cold cases. Toni Anderson, she was a student at the University of UMKC. She disappeared last year, this was written in 2018, so I'm guessing 2017 is when she disappeared. National headlines thought that there was a kidnapping case there, but the Wichita native's body was found inside her vehicle in the Missouri River about 2 months after she vanished. I kind of remember that. So she was found. So anyway, they're saying that, it's possible to find. And there's been there have been a bunch of other bodies found in cars, the last few years. Our ability to find stuff like that is growing, so they're finding a lot more people that have been missing forever. Oklahoma authorities conducting an underwater training exercise in 2013 discovered 2 vehicles containing 6 sets of human remains that likely dated to disappearances in the 60s and 70s. Dennis feels he did everything he could to achieve a similar breakthrough in the Randy Leach case, but he couldn't. Like, they just couldn't do it. So he's, saying that he feels like he failed because this is like the one big case he couldn't solve, but nobody has been able to find this guy or his car in all these years. Crazy.
It's so crazy.
Okay. So this is all the stuff that Randy's mom and dad have done over the years to try to find him.
Okay.
They're still having rallies. His dad's gone now. His dad died in the last couple of years. His mom's still alive. They still have annual rallies in locally to try to get, because they think that the police department never did investigate this properly, and they're convinced that there's a weird cover-up going on. So they're always rallying and getting signatures to try to get the case looked at again. Okay, so this is from insearchofrandyleach.com again. So this is from his parents. We received many comments on who or how. Oh, that doesn't make sense. We have received many comments on how we have searched for Randy. For those that did not attend or see the rally video to hear this information, there's a bunch of videos on his website. Okay. We thought we would share the summary of our search efforts over the last 35 years. Harold and Alberta started looking for Randy from day one. They hired private investigators within the first 2 months to help them search for Randy. They traveled nationwide to follow up on every lead and every tip they received. They knew Randy liked Colorado, so they made trips posting flyers the length of I-70 across Kansas and Colorado. They traveled to Chicago to appear on a national TV show with a psychic who claimed to know about Randy. There were rumors of Randy's body being seen in a cave, again, that he was hung in a cave somewhere. Harold went into the caves himself and investigated on his own. Harold and Alberta have conducted flyovers. In 1988, Harold knew a man who had a small plane, and the two of them flew over the Linwood area looking for Randy's car. In the early 90s, they had sonar in several locations. Harold enlisted the help of someone with a boat and sonar, and they searched Stranger Creek, the creek they think maybe he drove into, and the Linwood Bridge to look for the car. He enlisted another person with a boat and sonar and was put in Elephant Walk Lake, which is now known as Bear Lake, located in Bonner Springs, to search for the car. Still nothing. Also, in the early 90s, Harold and a friend used an airboat up and down the Kansas River in search of Randy's car. Over the years, there have been 2 sessions in which cadaver dogs, volunteer law enforcement officers from outside of Kansas, have these cadaver dogs and loan them out. They cleared nearly 36 locations where Randy was rumored to be. Just earlier this year, handlers from outside the state of Kansas came with their 3 cadaver dogs and searched many locations. During the days they were here, they parked their truck and camper at Alberta's house, and the cadaver dogs roamed about the property. 8 years ago, Gene and Randy Ralston of Idaho, who have located more than 100 drowning victims over the past 20 years, attempted to use their sonar equipment and their underwater camera in the Kansas River. Still nothing. Professional geophysicists with magnetometers, ground-penetrating radar, and sub-bottom profilers have worked the river and the land. Many hours have been spent mapping and gridding the river with professional searches. Harold and Alberta and their friends have traversed acres of land area, dug in areas where human remains were presumed to exist, and crawled down steep banks with a boat on their back. They have recruited the help of divers from neighboring jurisdictions to dive the Kansas River. Friends of Harold and Alberta used sonar on the Kansas River many times. When anomalies were discovered with the use of a magnetometer, there were many trips up and down the river by boat using sonar. These searches using the boat with sonar on the Kansas River went on for years. These were just a few of the many searches over the years until a couple of years ago when their friends contacted a company called Adventures with a Purpose, who cleared over a dozen areas. Since then, there have been more cadaver dog investigations, land surveys based on incoming tips, and they have spoken with several psychics. Throughout the past 35 years, there have been endless searches for Randy, and they say that they're never going to stop. Or now just the mom. Dad died, but she said she's never going to stop. Mm-hmm. So, where the fuck is this dude?
That's so crazy.
He's gone. His car's gone. They have, searched every fucking inch of this creek and the Kansas River. So like, it's so wild. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But he's somewhere. And so they have like a whole Facebook page for him, and they constantly are like putting signs up at all the waterways and like boat ramps around here and saying like, if you have a boat with sonar and you see anything weird, call this number and we'll come investigate it. And they like paid all this money to hire this Adventures with a Purpose company. They do like, this is exactly what they do. Like they use sonar, they have all this expensive equipment, and they will go and like traverse rivers and waterways and stuff and try to find vehicles and stuff. And they have uncovered a whole bunch of stuff, but they can't find him. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting. That's weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have maybe heard that before.
I had not heard of him. But yeah, I guess like if you grew up in that area, you heard about him. So yeah, my friends out west all knew about him growing up. Where
did he go?
I know. It's weird.
It's like into another
Probably
dimension.
Eddie was playing D&D and sacrificed him.
Yeah, probably.
That was the dumbest shit I've ever heard before. Like
summoned
that's
the
what the cops
devil
focused on in 1988 instead of like real things. They were like, "Uh-oh, this kid has a D&D manual and his hair's black. We better get him."
Right.
He listens to Iron Maiden. Oh no. Get the fuck out of here. Are you a real person? That is like comically stupid to me.
It really is.
Like what the fuck? I could not get over. I was reading it and I was like, "This is Stranger Things. Is this real life? What is going on?"
Right? He's in the upside down.
What the fuck? That would make more sense,
Right?
if he was in the upside down than Eddie doing something bad to him. So the poor Eddie had to move away and join the fucking army.
Yeah. Poor Eddie.
I know. Yeah. So that was my topic.
That's fascinating.
I thought it was
Crazy.
cool. Yeah.
This has been some episode.
It has.
Disappearances. Moms having affairs with their daughters' husbands. Winnie the Pooh killing people.
Cold Ethyl stories. She told us a good one.
Yeah, that was good. All right. Well, thank you for joining us in the Glory Hole Dungeon. You have anything else before? Okay.
Nope.
So, yes, thank you for joining us in the Glory Hole Dungeon for this episode of the Glory Hole Podcast. Be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe at the Glory Hole Pod. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And don't forget to email us, thegloryholepod@gmail.com. And also, don't forget, hit that 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
All right.
And one more thing. I do
Yes.
have one thing. Cold Ethyl now has her own Instagram.
Yes.
It is.
And her own Twitter page.
Yes. They're both at the Cold Ethyl.
Yes.
And Ethel is ETHYL.
Yes, just like the song.
Yes. Just like, if you don't remember how to spell it, look up the Alice Cooper song.
Yep. So you get to follow along with her crazy adventures. And
Yep.
if you have a recommendation for a hot read for Cold Ethyl to
Ooh,
read,
yeah.
send
you
us
let
one.
us know. You let us know. We'll read it.
Yeah, send
And
us
then we'll let her
absolutely
read it.
anything.
Yeah.
It'll be
Excited.
good. So yeah, you
Okay.
got a spicy scene? Send it to us.
Cool. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
See you next week, guys.
Stay gory.
Bye, Gore Horse.